So, episode 115 of Boruto. I'm really happy how this episode turned out, because it really is a breath of fresh air for the Boruto anime. There's been a lot of hate recently on the anime and how it's not progressive compared to the manga, which is, far ahead the anime. So what I like about this episode is that it's not your weekly dosage of useless Boruto filler, as people have, proclaimed it to be, but it's a character development episode on a team that hasn't made a big appearance up until now. Obviously, they were in the first episode alongside all the other people in the academy, and also in episode 38 where their names were announced and they were put into this Team 25. But honestly, from the moment I saw the character designs of this Team 25, I knew that it has to either be a coincidence that they're such unique, created designs, or like they have to be used in the future. Like literally from the first episode of Boruto, I saw them and I thought they have to, make an appearance. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about is a summary of the actual episode itself, and then I'm going to go on the individual analysis of each character, because these characters are interesting and I really am interested in see what happens with them and how they develop and how they'll fit in to the main storyline. Unfortunately, from what I know, I'm not a big manga fan, but they actually haven't made an appearance in manga yet, and the manga's at a point which is quite crucial compared to the main storyline compared to the Boruto anime. So that is kind of worrying, but maybe they'll have a bigger part in some kind of arc which follows the Houki arc, which is currently being reviewed in the manga. I'm not sure, but I guess we'll see. Okay, so the episode itself starts off as Sai being in a room, reviewing some information. Kakashi walks in, he's like, it's all empty, what's going on? Sai says there is a bomb threat, so everyone's busy working on it, and there's loads of work that hasn't been done. As Kakashi walks into the room, he notices a letter, he looks at it, and it's a complaint on Team 25, which is a new team introduced in this episode, and it's a complaint about, their inefficient work in a post office which they've been assigned to work at. So Kakashi, being the absolute legend he is, he takes it upon himself to personally investigate and puts on his famous disguise, which he uses in Naruto in order to spy on Sasuke and Naruto, and also in Boruto when he conducts the academy interviews, I think it was, or the pictures or whatever. But yeah, that's that. So once he gets to the post office, he sees that things aren't going too well for Team 25. They're dropping boxes, they're arguing, and it's not going good. Seconds later, they're getting yelled at by the clerk of the post office for being ineffective, and for the 5th time today, I think he says, they've been dropping boxes and not doing a good job. Kakashi pulls Houki aside, who explains that he is the interim team leader of Team 25 as their Jonin got injured in a previous mission, and he's having trouble bringing their team together and making sure they actually do work. And following this, we hear 2 things from Kakashi which explain to us and reveal to us a bit more about Houki. Number 1, that he's got good memory. Kakashi says, I'm surprised you remembered me from the academy days or whatever. You got a good memory. Number 2 is that Houki is a Kakashi fanboy, and he doesn't know it, but he's actually speaking to the guy. But basically, as you see, his attire, his design is completely based off Kakashi. He's got the headband on sideways over one eye, he's got the mask and gloves and everything, so it's clear to us that he's a fanboy. People did actually think that it was Kakashi's son, so rest in peace all those theories. So it's nice to see all that being cleared up. Then we see Houki talk about his teammates, number 1 being Hako, who is this weird goth girl thing. Basically, he reveals that she uses puppets, which is really interesting because we have seen a lot of characters like Sasori and Kankuro who use puppets, but from what we see here, she's not using her hands to use chakra threads to control the puppets. So it has, it could have some kind of unique ability here that we haven't seen before. But basically, this puppet is moving on by itself. It's almost its own little creature. And we see her carrying this little teddy bear puppet thing with the headband a lot. And I'm really interested to see how that will expand and how she will use that in combat in further episodes. We do see Houki talk about her as, going off and doing her own thing, which is implying that she's antisocial, which is pretty cliche for your emo anime character. But that's basically her summed up. Then we have Renga. On the first glance, it's pretty boring. He looks like anyone from the Stone Village. They only use brute force or whatever, and they just don't really do anything. They're kind of hot-headed. So from first impressions, he looked pretty fucking boring. But into the episode, we see him expand and how he's actually a pretty interesting character. So that's just like the first impressions we have from the actual Team 25. I'll go over this later, but basically after this, Sarada and Boruto run in. They're like, oh, there's a bomb threat, we need to look at some packages, whatever. Basically they defuse a bomb and they kind of save the day or whatever, which is what we think. Team 25 are like, shit man, these guys get to do this cool stuff, we just stuck her in this post office. So you kind of see how they're upset about it, or Houki is specifically. So after this, we're able to see something pretty cool. So Hako, this goth girl, is able to make 2 observations from the post clerk, which are pretty cool. Number 1 is that she makes the observation that it's time to go home, and she does this purely by the fact that he kept checking his watch, and he's pretty surprised to hear that she made that, which really tells us one thing about her. The second thing is honestly amazing. She says, you're fighting with your wife, you better go home quickly so you can iron that shirt, which is, you know, he completely like is confused. Like, how does she know that I'm fighting with my wife just because I haven't ironed my shirt? And it's an amazing observation, and it really shows us how intelligent and how the perception of Haku is, you know, one of her most you know, important traits. And it is really, you know, I want to see how that fits in with the main storyline or whatever later on, if it does. And after this, it kind of picks off. So Kakashi says to Houki, hey, listen, the 6th Hokage, I heard the story once where, you know, he messed up and he didn't apologize to one of his friends, and then he lost that friend. Basically, you know, using his past experiences to lecture Houki in order for him to, you know, own up to his mistakes and apologize to his friends. And what Kakashi was referring to obviously was Obito, and, you know, it's amazing how he uses this in such a light manner, in a way to lecture people. What happens next is pretty cool. So by the way, Sarada and Boruto figured out that the bomb was the one which had the department paper, because they found it at the criminal's hideout who made the bomb. Kakashi does something really amazing. Basically, he says to Houki, hey, I wonder how Boruto and Sarada figured it out. And Houki kind of analyzes it in his head for a moment and realizes the one they found was using the department's wrapping paper, but it didn't have the logo. And then he says to himself, hey, if I see something, I never forget it. And he remembers that there was another 2 packages that had the same wrapping paper but didn't have the logo. What's great about this, and which furthermore shows how great Kakashi is the fact that he had already figured out that there's 2 bombs, but then instead of, you know, kind of dealing it with himself, he asked this question to Houki in order for him to trigger the kind of investigation stance or whatever, for him to figure out that there's another 2 bombs, which, you know, is just an amazing thing from Kakashi. He's basically helping them develop, and they're basically just gonna be the heroes if they manage to defuse these bombs, and they'll finally be able to do missions higher than D class, which is all thanks to Kakashi. So it just shows how great Kakashi is and how good of a sensei he actually is. So they managed to defuse the first bomb. The second one is obviously still in package form, so it gets set out for delivery. This is when there's a bit of a panic. They're like, oh, we don't have time, you guys need to go and look for it. After this, Houki apologizes to Hako and Renga, and then basically says, let's start anew. He puts Hako in charge of the team because of her amazing perception skills, and basically just by observing the people for a whole day, Hako is able to make out the schedule of the post delivery man, and they basically go to the place where the bomb is, and they find the bomb. Unfortunately, they try to defuse it, but for some reason the counterattack didn't work, so everyone's panicking. Oh shit, the bomb's literally got like 20 seconds, what do we do? So your boy Renga, who hasn't really stepped up much up until this point, he says, yo, leave it to me. Houki throws the bomb at him as it explodes, and he pulls out this crazy fucking shield, and he does this crazy hex fucking spaceship shield, whatever, and he stops the impact of the bomb, and kind of, you know, no one gets injured or anything, it just kind of blows up. So it's pretty crazy to see that. I don't know what the fuck that's all about, but it looks pretty cool. So yeah, after this, the day is saved, and what happens next, again, is pretty fucking cool. So because of how they managed to stop the bomb threat, which everyone missed, they actually get promoted, and they get put on the size intelligence fucking investigation team or whatever, which is really, really cool, because as far as I know, in the past, that was a branch of Ambu of the Core Foundation, which is really fucking cool, because at that point, you know, Ambu are really, really well-skilled ninjas, and we haven't really seen any like side characters be put on an investigation team. And what makes me happy the most is that Sai's leading this team, and obviously Sai was kind of overlooked in Naruto. He was kind of introduced, and then Sasuke came back and he got kind of forgotten about. And just remember that none of this would have been possible if it weren't for Kakashi, you know, kind of mentoring them and getting them to do that. But yeah, I'm really, really excited for these characters and see how they're going to work alongside Sai in this investigation team, and how it will fit in with the main characters in other arcs. So now I'm going to cover the 3 characters themselves, number 1 being Houki. So Houki is a big Kakashi fanboy. So what I really want to see is Kakashi perhaps training him, maybe teaching him the Chidori, or just, you know, more mentoring, more interaction between him and Kakashi, because Kakashi is his idol, and I really would like to see that. So he has photographic memory, which puts him into a very interesting spot, because I think because of his photographic memory, is there a possibility that he could inherit Kakashi's copy ninja status? Because using his photographic memory, he could copy seals and, you know, learn jutsus. We haven't seen him use any jutsus at all in this episode from pretty much all 3 of the characters, apart from Renga, who uses shield. I don't know if that counts as a jutsu or just technology, but yeah, I really would like to see Houki become like this next generation Kakashi, because obviously Kakashi doesn't have a son or anyone who would kind of, you know, be like the next generation version of him. Obviously every character has like the next generation version themselves, and I really would like to see him be the next generation version because of how much he idolizes him, and I want Kakashi to be kind of like a father figure to him in a way. So, you know, he is his mentor, he trains him, he you know, I really want that photographic memory to become something that, you know, could be amazing, like copy people's jutsus. That'd be really, really good to see. One thing that I really want to talk about is the fact that Taketori, which is the clan that Houki's part of, has relations to the Hyuga clan. It's not really known much about this clan, but it says that it has relations to the Hyuga clan, as mentioned by Natsu Hyuga. So this could be maybe, I don't know, why his eyes are so good. I'm not saying that he has like a hidden byakugan or whatever, but maybe it's some kind of relation there which causes photographic memory. I'm really, really interested to see Houki more in action and see how he expands and how maybe he gets trained by Kakashi. I'm really wondering what will happen. So yeah, that's Houki. Haku is next. So Haku has amazing perception. We have learned that she is lazy and antisocial, which is one of the 2 traits that she possesses, but at the same time she is someone who uses puppets, but doesn't use chakra threads to control the puppets of her hands. I don't know if it's something to do with her mind, or I don't know, maybe some kind of hidden ability. It hasn't been expanded on just yet, and we haven't seen it in combat, but I'm really, really curious to see on how it will work and how this puppet of hers will, I don't know, it'll be interesting to see. But she's definitely a mysterious character, one that I want to know more on, and it'll be very, very, very interesting to see how she differs from other puppet masters and how, you know, what her special abilities are. Next we have Renga, who, yes, is kind of probably the least interesting out of the 3, but at the same time it's interesting to see what technology that he's going to be using, since he's using the shield, which doesn't count as a jutsu. Again, we haven't seen him use any jutsus, we just know that he has superhuman strength, and his personality differs a bit from your standard, you know, fucking strong, hot-headed idiot. He seems to be more collected, and, you know, from his interactions with the team, it'll be interesting to see how he's going to work as an intelligence person, as someone who's working on investigations, because that's what team they're going to be on. So he said that he was chosen because of his defense or whatever for the team, but I don't see how that'll work that much. I don't know how that's going to fit in, but, you know, it's going to be really interesting to see his jutsus and how he further expands. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So there we go, we have a summary and analysis of the 3 characters. This episode, as I said, is very, very enjoyable. I'm very interested to see interactions between these people with the main characters, especially Houki's with Kakashi. I want to see more of them together, and I want to see him be the Kakashi of this era. So yeah, it's gonna be, I'm just very excited to see that. But yeah, that's pretty much everything for the video. If you did enjoy the video, please like and subscribe, and comment down below your favorite character from this episode. My personal one is Houki. But yeah, that's pretty much everything, so I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.